Have you ever wondered why some businesses thrive yet others struggle to grow? A lot of times the secret lies in one overlooked tool, and that tool just so happens to be feedback. But not just any kind of feedback. This is feedback that is intentional, actionable, and is growth focused as well. So, hi everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Shanice Upshur, the corporate escapee, and today in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a feedback collection form that doesn't just gather opinions, but helps you to drive actionable results. Stick around. By the end of this episode, you'll have 3 practical steps to collect, analyze, and act on feedback effectively. So I remember a time when I was a sales coach and I was working to get into a leadership position. And there was myself and a couple of other people who were in those coach positions trying to get promoted. And I had a mentor pull me aside and she told me, hey, there's so many of you that are new. There's no way the director is going to hire all of you guys. Probably only going to pull in one person. What are you doing to make sure you stand out? And this mentor really encouraged me to make sure that my voice was heard, that my thought processes were heard, and that I was really bringing my unique self to every single meeting I was a part of. And she was not the only person who had told me this. I had a couple of others who had told me this, but when she told me that, it really resonated with me and helped me change my focus. I changed my focus. I made sure that I was contributing to meetings, being a part of discussions, and when the interview process came along, I did end up getting picked for and hired for the position. And I think that was the first time when I realized how powerful feedback could be. This individual was able to recognize something that the business needed that I didn't, was able to recognize something that I was missing that I didn't, and was able to convey it in a way that was extremely powerful, helped me adjust, and helped guide me to success. So I can't even remember who was the first person who said it, but there's a saying, and you guys may have heard of it as well. Feedback is a gift. And I feel that sometimes, when people give you feedback, you can kind of want to take it personally or feel like it's a critique on you or the person who you are. But if you accept it as a gift and an opportunity to change and grow, it can be huge. So it can be huge in your personal life, in your business life. And for us as entrepreneurs, getting started off, it can be huge in understanding what it is that our customers, what the people we serve want to see from us, and making sure that we're showing up in a way that best supports them. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I want to talk a little bit about the power of feedback. So kind of give my story, my background around feedback, my experience with it. But when you think about feedback, I really want you to think about it as a bridge between where you are and where you want to be. And with feedback, it really helps to kind of call out some of those blind spots, call out some of those hiccups. It helps you to validate your strengths and refine your approach. And again, I think that last part, that refining your approach, is huge, especially in this world, especially in this space where, you may not have a team of 10 people, 20 people, 50 people around you. So you really do have to listen to your customers, the clients, the people that you serve, to understand, hey, and what I'm saying resonating? Is this what it is that you're looking for? And really take all of that in and figure out how to adjust based from it. And sometimes you won't have to adjust. Maybe everything that you're saying is hitting home, and hey, that's great to know too, because it lets you know you're on the right track. So definitely look at feedback as a gift. It is so essential to us personally, but definitely professional as entrepreneurs. And when you think about feedback, and this can be whether you're getting it or whether you're, sending it out there in the world. So if you're thinking about great feedback, it should be 3 things. The first is it should be clear, right? Like the person receiving it should be able to understand exactly what it is that you're providing feedback on. And when I think about this idea of clarity, I really like to think about, hey, if I were to tell this to 3 different people, would I get 3 different versions, or would everybody be able to understand exactly what it is that I'm talking about? So think about that when you're, giving feedback to others, and when you're receiving it. If at any point something you receive isn't clear, don't be afraid to ask for clarification. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I think I heard you say blah, 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 and see if that aligns, right? Give them a chance to adjust too, because you don't want to leave a gem on the table because you misinterpreted what it was. So So make sure that you get clarity on any feedback that you receive and are providing it when you're providing clarity when you're giving feedback. The second thing about feedback is make sure that it's constructive, right? You want it to be something that people can work on, that people can focus on. You wouldn't say something like, hey, I think you're too short, right? Like, I'm 5'2". My son likes to joke that I'm too short all the time. Not really constructive. Nothing I can do about my height. And I know that's a silly example, but the feedback that you give and receive should be something that you can work on, something that an area that you can grow in. And then lastly, it should be consistent. So when you're getting feedback, you want to think about it in the terms of, the whole audience, the whole group of people. So is this something that just one person would say, or would I get a general consensus around the feedback? Is it one person that said that I need to work on my, speaking skills, or my hearing speaking skills come up again and again and again, right? So really think about that from the consistent perspective. And then, going back to this idea of feedback, and I kind of gave it away a little bit a moment ago. When you're thinking about providing clear feedback, one of the things that I used to tell people when I trained them was just that, hey, if you're putting something out there, and if I heard it and I thought one thing, somebody else heard it and thought another thing, it's not clear. And a big part of that came from something that I was taught, where somebody had me do that, right? So I learned it, now I got to teach it to other people. So a huge, great, amazing piece of feedback that I've received, and now I'm passing it on to others. So you never know when that feedback, will hopefully keep on going on to others down the line. All right, so we talked about feedback. We talked about why it's important. We talked about the 3 components, right? Clear, constructive, and consistent. How do you get that feedback? A couple different ways around it. I've seen people use like a Survey Monkey. I've seen people use some kind of like Google Forms just to collect some information dialogue with questions that can be pretty broad. So the first thing around that is ask the right questions. So if you're looking to get feedback on yourself, ask the right questions. They should be specific. They should be actionable. So if you're thinking about, let's say you put a product out there in the universe, so to speak, instead of saying, what do you think about my product, right? A little bit too broad. Maybe you bring that question down and ask something more specific, like, what is one thing that you would like for me to improve on this product? Gives a little bit more specificity and really hones it in. And again, you can use this on the business side, working with your products, or even on the personal side. So I've seen people ask questions like, what's one skill that you think I should improve upon? What do you feel is my biggest weakness? If there was, one training I should take, what would it be? Different things like that. So don't be afraid to help the individuals that you're looking for feedback, with questions to help them think about the best way to support you. I would probably also say, and this isn't necessarily one of the bullet points, but also would also probably say, don't give them, 20 questions to answer, maybe like 2 or 3, right? Keep it really simple. And it can be both sides of the coin. You can ask for areas to improve, and also take that time to understand maybe where your strengths are with asking, what is one thing that I do well, and those type of questions as well. So it can be used for both the feedback in terms of areas to improve on, and also feedback in terms of just giving you some additional clarity on how you're being viewed and how you're presenting yourself to the world. The second thing around feedback collection is keep it simple. And I know we kind of touched base on this, but people are busy, right? No more than, I said 2, so like 3 to 5 questions kind of max in terms of that. Think about the surveys that you've received over the past year, or feedback forms that you've received over the past year. Anytime that you pull it open and you got, 5 questions, 10 questions, you're a little less likely to sit and respond than if it's 2 or 3, and especially respond with, a lot of forethought when you're getting a little bit overwhelmed with too much. And another thing around that too, around this whole idea of keeping it simple, think about the questions that you're asking. Don't use these, highfalutin words that somebody has to pull out a dictionary to even understand what you're asking. Make sure you're keeping it simple, even in the questions that you're asking as well too. And then the last thing around feedback collection is provide some context, explain to individuals why their feedback matters. And it's one of those things where it can help people be a little bit more aligned, help people understand the why behind what you're doing. So it can be anything from, trying to make this particular product better, trying to serve you as my customer better. And on the personal side, it can be, looking for ways for me to grow, going through 2025, trying to understand areas where I can improve. But whatever that looks like for you, don't be afraid to provide some context to the people. At the end of the day, they're doing you a favor by providing you this feedback. Help them understand how you're going to be utilizing it, why it's important to you, so that they can get excited about the support that they're providing you as well. So once you get that feedback, what do you do with it? So analyzing that feedback, the first thing that I would say is look for patterns. If multiple people mention the same thing, it's more than likely an issue. One of the things that I used to do, and I can't even remember the name of the website anymore, but there's a whole bunch of websites out there. You can probably Google like a word cloud generator or something. You put all the words and the terms in there, and the words that people say more often than not are the words that are the biggest in your word cloud generator. So I have used word cloud generators in the past, get my feedback, stick all the feedback in there, and then it's like, okay, what words do I see popping up more often than not? Whether it's from a feedback perspective, something that I needed to work on, or something positive, a skill set that they're calling out that maybe I didn't even realize other people were seeing and appreciating as much as they were. So I definitely would use something along those lines. And then the next thing around that is also, highlight action, right? So when you get this feedback, what are you doing with it? Not only do you want to just get it, analyze it, but now what do? You take that feedback. How do you work on these areas that you're recognizing? Maybe you're not quite as strong in them as you thought, or maybe there's this benefit that your customers would want to see. So, feedback really is useless if it doesn't involve some kind of change. So show your audience, show your clients, show the people who took the time to provide your feedback that you're listening to them by implementing some of their suggestions, sharing the results, maybe even sharing the suggestions. There's nothing like saying, hey, you guys really called out the fact that we were missing XYZ. We're partnering with such and such to provide that. Or, we've included this module in there to support, exactly what it was that you're asking. Show them how you're implementing the different things that they told you. And it helps build trust. It helps build that camaraderie and that community for you as well. So within that, those three things that we called out: to analyze the data, address the gaps, and amplify the impact, right? You become more impactful the more that you're providing people exactly what it is that they want. It's going to resonate at a deeper level when you take the time to do that. So thank you so much for being here. Quick recap. So feedback is your growth engine. It is a gift. It's not something to shy away from. It's an opportunity for us to move forward, continue to grow, get better every single day. And when you ask the right questions, when you analyze these responses, when you act on these insights, you can really transform your business, yourself, and the way that you show up for all of the people around you. So now it's your turn. Go out there, create your feedback collection form, whether it's a SurveyMonkey, whether it's Google Forms, whether you just walk around and ask people questions, however that looks like. Start gathering those insights. Look at and analyze that data. I'm so excited to see not just what it is that you learn about yourself and your business, but how you move forward with implementing that. And if you liked this video, give it a like, share it with your friends and family. And I am super duper excited about our topic on Friday. See you then.